Good morning, welcome to What's Working Wednesday. I'm Cheryl Andrews, I'm the founder of Step by Step Listening, and I'm your strength and solution detective. I'm here to ask you questions to help you get clarity of what you want and the confidence to make it happen. And today I want to talk to you about how do you please everybody in your life. And the answer is I, which is the I from the clarity process, which is about intention and inclusion. One of the light bulb moments that happened with me about 2.5 years ago was when I remembered that in order to get clarity and make decisions that work for me and the people around me, the decisions actually had to include what I wanted. Now, if you're somebody that really cares about other people, you might be a counsellor, a therapist, a coach, a trainer, consultant, parent, manager, or generally just somebody who really puts other people first. What you might be finding when you're struggling to get all of this right is that maybe your actual decisions you're making in the first place haven't included your well-being and your needs as well. I had a bit of a light bulb moment with this a few years ago. It was about 3 years ago now. I was actually on the phone to Parent Line, sobbing my heart out, thinking my daughter was didn't want to live at home with me. She was self-harming. She was really not in a good place. And I was this communication coach that helped other people to grow their business to be really successful. And many of them have gone on to use the communication tools we use in the workplace at home, and were telling me about how much more in love they were and how great their relationships with their children were and how they'd help their kids with bullying at school. And there I was, the communication coach that was failing in all of my eyes, any way I looked at it. So I'm there on the phone to Parent Line crying, saying, why is it I can help all these other people? How can I help 60, 70 business owners, and they've all earning more money than me, they're being more successful, and they're having better relationships, and I can't do it for myself? And there was a young lad on the phone. He was probably about 20, and he just said to me, so what would you tell your customers to do? What would you tell your clients to do? And I was like, oh. And I got off that phone and I spoke to my husband, who's also a trained facilitator, and he knows the strength and solution questions. And I said, do you know what? I've kind of done it superficially. I've been so busy helping. I've been listening to my clients and finding out what it is they need in order to have clarity of what they want and the confidence to make it happen. And every time we got to a brick wall, I'd go and do some research. I'd go and find the next resource. And I've developed this brilliant program to help people get clarity of what they want, help them to understand how they make decisions and how they plan and why time impacts their decisions. And then so I got them to do, delegate or ditch, so they really knew what they needed to do more of. They knew what they had to delegate and they were happy to do it, and then how to do it and what beliefs they had to ditch in order to be able to work, learn and live at their best. And then when all of that happened, the only thing that was missing is they needed to have communication tools in place. They needed to know how I'd been asking these questions and how I'd been giving them feedback so that they could be more effective in group environments and relationships and partnerships. So this 3-step strategy had come about, and it was really great. And there I was, not applying it to home. I was doing it all for work, but I wasn't doing it for myself, and I wasn't doing it for my family. So on that day, I started to actually go through my own program. So Mark took me through, so I got clarity of what I wanted. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. The first thing, be really clear and be focused on making sure your language is talking about what you want, what your strengths are, and make sure you include you personally, your work and family. So looking at your own personal growth, I use 3 models. We say working, learning and living. So working will be your business or your career, so your work life, if that was just the way you'd like it to be. Your family, or living, so if your family, your personal life with the relationships you've got, if your living was just the way you'd like it to be. And then learning is about you as an individual, so if you personally were just the way you'd like it to be. And the key to the success is actually taking the time to get into the detail of that. It's really easy to go, I just want to be successful in business. Well, that means I'll earn 100,000, or I would have helped X amount of people. Or my family, everyone would be happy. Or me, I'd be fit and healthy. Start asking yourself, what kind of happy? What would you hear and see that would tell you your family's happy? What kind of success? What would you hear and see? What would you feel? What would be going on in the detail? And if you're fit and healthy, what would you hear and see? So get very clear, first and foremost, if you had those 3 core areas of your life were just the way you'd like it to be, it would be like what? And once you know that, The magic is that when you've got to make day-to-day decisions, you've got something really strong and very clear to calibrate against. So if someone says to you, so if you know your work life means that you're working from home, you're working 8 till 4, Monday to Friday, and you're doing 40 weeks a year, that's kind of how my timetable looks. If someone says to you, can you do 7 weeks of working at 9 o'clock at night on a Wednesday night, Cheryl? I know that's my date night. I know that's really important to me. And so I can look at how long they want me to do it for. I can also look at how much they're willing to pay me. And I can decide for a short-term period, can I work out of flow in order, and is that money more important than the relationships? So if you don't have your clear picture first and foremost, it's really difficult to make decisions. So get very clear first of all about you, your business and home. Secondly, then get really clear how you make decisions. One of the things that this is where the inclusive bit came in. What I realised when I looked at my decision-making model is I would check what my husband wanted, what my children wanted, what my team wanted. I knew what my clients were asking me for, and I would start to develop. I kept changing things in my business so that I was doing things at the weekend because that's when my clients said they wanted to work. I was doing evenings because that's when my clients said they wanted to work. And I was torn about because I hadn't listened and I hadn't paid attention to what is I wanted. And it was a personal development task for about 18 months. As a family, we'd be going out and Liam and Mark would stop me and go, and is that what you really want? And I'd have to stop and think, and I'd go, no, I don't really want to go to the pictures. I don't really want to watch telly. What I want is to spend time with you. But that's not the activity that I would personally choose. And by them checking in with me, what happened is a couple of times I just didn't go because I thought, actually, I really don't want to go to the pictures. I was just doing that because it meant I could spend time with them. Sometimes the activity changed. And sometimes we just had to explore the whole thing from the beginning about how much time we're going to spend together. So it's really important that if you're finding it hard to please everybody, the first person I want you to check in with, is it true, if not truer, that you're not pleasing yourself? Because if you don't please yourself, what will happen is 3 things. Either procrastination, you'll start to resent the things you're supposed to be doing because it's not what you really want to do, it's what you're doing for other people. So procrastination might show up. You might start blaming. You might say, oh, it's because I'm disorganised, or I'm not very good at timing, or I don't think very well, or you might be blaming other people because they're not helping you or they're not taking the pressure off you. And most definitely, if you've got procrastination, blame, resentment is not far behind. So if you're starting to feel those things, the likelihood is you don't really have clarity of what you want. And perhaps if you're going to have to start to change the way you make decisions because you've been so busy pleasing everybody else, you may need someone to support you to start to change that behaviour. So the first thing is get clear what you want to have happen. Second thing, think about how you need to be. And lastly, what kind of resource or support you need. Now, it might be that I suggest you take one friend, somebody you really trust, to have your good intentions at part, and make sure that if you're going to ask them to help you with change in behaviour, that you really get them to focus on when you're getting it right. So you can check in with, they say to them, can you just check that that's, if you know that you don't include yourself, just ask them, is that including you? And then you can credit. And if they see you and hear you including yourself, or correcting it or changing it when you don't include yourself, then get them to recognise it. But what I'd suggest you don't do is don't ask other people to put your attention on when you're getting it wrong, because that just adds to the overwhelm. That just adds to feeling failure, and it stops you from being able to really get clarity and feel good about yourself and learn how to do things differently. So it's a bit of a long video today, and I have done a different perspective. I thought you could see the other side of the office today. So if that's of help, please like the video, please share the video, please put your comments below, and if it's useful, I'll do another one again like this next week. Speak to you soon.